Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestlecast pilot. I'm your host, Dylan Melanson, and today we are going to be talking some wrestling. This is the podcast that combines wrestling and podcasts, so it's perfect. And this is the pilot episode. This is not going to be like what a normal episode of this would be. It's going to be kind of like a trial run, a trial edition. I only have two real things to talk about in this episode. It's going to be a short one. But I'm just kind of doing this to see where we lie and where the viewership and whatnot's going to be. So we have two main topics to discuss. This episode should be about 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe. So the things we're going to talk about is one, the death of finishers, and two, misused dudes. 10 guys that we dropped the ball with. So let's start off with the finisher discussion. First off, think in your head right now, what is your favorite finisher in wrestling right now? You could think like, maybe the tombstone, the choke slam, super kick maybe, what is Johnny Gargano, the Gargano escape, the curb stomp, the end of days, the disarmer. What's your favorite finish in wrestling right now? Now what if I told you the move you're thinking of is not a finisher? No, it isn't. I don't care what you're thinking of right now. There are no finishers in wrestling nowadays. Unless there's something I'm missing, there are no moves that absolutely finish the match 100% of the time. Now, there may be a few that I'm just not really paying attention to. Maybe there is. What springs to mind is Aleister Black's Black Mass, but I feel like people have kicked out of that. But what a finisher is, well, let's just look at the root word, finish. A finisher is a move intended and used to finish a match. So, a finisher is a move that ends the match, quite frankly. A finisher should not be a move that gets countered and kicked out of. Well, countered, yes, it's fine to counter a finisher. It should not be kicked out of, and it certainly shouldn't be kicked out of multiple times in a match, like we see in the indies nowadays. You see people kick out of absolutely every single move in the indies nowadays because people just don't give a fuck. They put themselves over more than they put the product over, which is ridiculous. You see it all the fucking time. Look at there's a bug. Look at the Young Bucks. Look at the Kenny Omega. Look at all the guys from AEW. Have any of them hit a move that hasn't been kicked out of before that they use as a finish? No, because the indies is just a bunch of fucking false finishes. WWE, they're guilty of it too. You see guys kicking out of the curb stomp. The only move, really, nowadays that I can really think of, I thought of the Black Mass. The RKO is another one. If he goes for a pin after an RKO, the guy doesn't usually kick out. It just happened recently, and people made a big deal about it. And that's good to see, because finishers in wrestling really don't exist anymore. Back in the day, if a guy hit his finish, it's over. Hulk Hogan hit his leg drop. Guys don't fucking kick out of that shit. Like, when he hits that finish, it's over because that's the finish. What you're seeing nowadays is just a bunch of signature moves, which is fine. But, putting them as a finish, calling them a finish, they're not a finish because they haven't finished anything. I could finish a match with a poke, but that doesn't make that my finishing move. That just makes it a move I hit to finish the match. And odds are a guy's going to kick out of a poke every once in a while, so that's not a finish. But yeah, back in the day, not every move, what am I talking about? Everybody had their finish. Everybody had a finish. Hulk Hogan had the leg drop. Ultimate Warrior had the splash. He picked them up, grill press slam, throw them back, run, splash. That finished the match. Always. And more recently, a move I can really think of that was a finish would be the 3D by the Dudley Boys. Now, you may say, that got kicked out of a lot in WWE. Yes. I'm more or less referring to their ECW run, where maybe not even a handful of guys kicked out of that move. If you got hit with the Deadly Death Drop, you were done. I think the first guy to ever kick out of it was Masato Tanaka, and people were like, holy shit, Masato Tanaka just kicked out of the fucking 3D. Like, nothing's going to keep this guy down. And that's the way finishers should be, man. That's the way moves should be. I can't say that when I get into wrestling it's going to be different, because, that's just kind of the way wrestling is nowadays. Finishers are kind of redundant, Like, obviously you need to hit moves, big moves to end the match, but most of the times those moves are going to get kicked out and kicked out and kicked out of, which sucks. But, look at the Dudley Death Drop. Like, Masato Tanaka kicks out of it. It's a big deal. Like, that's what wrestling is, man. That pop when somebody does it. But the thing is, you got to do the build up. Like, I think Dudley's went probably a year, maybe less, maybe more, of hitting that move, and nobody was kicking out of it. Then Masato Tanaka comes along, kicks out of it. Holy shit! In TNA, when they started using that move, guys kicked out of it all the time. Like Motor City Machine Guns kicked out of it. I think they still made a big deal, like, oh, they kicked out of the Dudley Death Drop, but then everybody proceeded to kick out of the Dudley Death Drop. In WWE, no, 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 no. People kicked out of it all the fucking time in WWE, but that's just the way WWE is. But in ECW, that move was fucking lethal. And I personally think that's the way finishers should be. They should be lethal. And it's not a hard thing. It's not like it would take a lot to change this. It's just, okay, how about we bring a guy out there tonight, and when he hits his finish, the match is over. Not, okay, let's hit the finish, kick out, you go for your finish, I'll hit mine again, then it's over. It's so stupid. Wrestling is so stupid. Finishes don't mean anything nowadays. Nothing. They mean nothing at all. And they are dead. And they honestly need a fucking revival, man. Like, I'm not talking about one guy having a finish that puts the guys away all the time. I mean, everybody should have, like, one move that just ends it, no matter what. And that's how they should always end their matches. That's a finisher, man. That's wrestling. Have a finisher. Anyways, that's the end of that conversation. Finishers need to be revived as actual finishers, because right now, they are dead. Alright, let's get into the misused dudes. The guys that WWE dropped the ball with. There is 10. We're going to start off with Wade Barrett, the man from Manchester. Wade Barrett, in 2010, 2011, it would have been 2011, I imagine. He had that feud with John Cena. And Randy Orton was also involved. They had that long title run. And then the Nexus, of course, were a big thing. They had that SummerSlam match where Cena beat them, which depends who you ask, but apparently Cena was not supposed to go over in that match. Nexus was supposed to go over, and it was going to be a big deal. Nexus as a whole, there was a lot of weak links in that chain, so not all of them could have succeeded. But Wade Barrett, he's like 6'5", 250 pounds. Like, he's a big man, and he was pretty capable in the ring. Like, they could have had something with him, and I certainly think he should have won the title, at least. Like, the Nexus was given a shit deal, but that is what it is. He should have persevered over that, and he should have became champ, but he never even won that title, despite, like, chasing it and chasing it and chasing it. He never won it, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, and they totally dropped the ball with Wade Barrett. There's another guy in the Nexus that they dropped the ball with, and that is Justin Gabriel. The dude had potential. He could have done big things. He could have been mid-card champ, and maybe if he was built right, maybe WWE champ, but I don't think so back then. But he had potential. Like, they just didn't do anything with him. Like, I can't think of really anything notable he did other than Nexus. He was like Nexus in the core. He was like a tag team guy, and then after that, I think he went to main event. Got a weird haircut. That's pretty much it. They let him go, and he's kind of done well in the indies. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's really done anything that notable in the indies either. Not that I know of. Is what it is. He's a great wrestler. Like, watching his matches, still nowadays, he's great. But, I don't know, man. They just dropped the ball with him. Next, CJ Parker. Now, I know you guys are thinking, that girl from Baywatch was not in WWE. And you're right. CJ Parker, the girl from Baywatch, was not in WWE. CJ Parker, now known as Juice Robinson, was a member of the NXT roster. And he came in really early to NXT. I think one of the first, I think he was on the first episode of NXT when it came back. We're not talking like the seasons where it was like the competitions or whatever. We're talking like the new NXT. He was in the first episode of that. So he was there from the get-go of the new NXT. And I personally think he was ahead of his time because the man was great. His gimmick was awesome. He was kind of doing what Daniel Bryan does now, like the hippie activist kind of guy, which was awesome the way he did it because he always came up with like these signs and they said like stop polluting, like just funny shit. And like his wrestling was fine, and he was good as a face or a heel because when he was a face, he was just kind of like a hippie dancing around and it was awesome. But when he was a heel, he was like, "You're fucking polluting my environment. What are you doing?" It was awesome. And, I'm thankful he's doing what he is nowadays as Juice Robinson in New Japan. It's awesome for him, man. He's doing big shit right now. And the world is his fucking oyster, I'd say. I just wish WWE would have used him better because they could have had something. He could have been NXT champ. He'd be on main event right now, but oh well. The next guy, Kaval. A lot of you guys probably don't even know who the fuck Kaval is. That probably sounds like some sort of dish or something. No, Kaval, also known as Loki in the Indies, I'm sure you guys know him now, or Senshi in TNA. He was in the original NXT. We're talking the competitions and shit. I think he was in NXT season 5, and it came down to him and Michael McGillicuddy, who is now Curtis Axel. I didn't put him on the list because I tried to stay away from guys that are still signed. Um, but Kaval came down to him and Michael McGillicuddy. Michael McGillicuddy got evicted, and then he cut that the very interesting Genesis of McGillicuddy promo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go find it because it's fucking hilarious. He kind of, I don't know, we're not going to go off on a tangent about Michael McGillicuddy. That's a different topic for a different day. But Kaval wins, and I think the winner was granted a title shot. Yes, he had a title shot against Dolph Ziggler, who was the Intercontinental Champion, and he lost. I don't know why. He was very good. They could have easily given him the title, and the fans were behind him, but they didn't. And he didn't do anything notable after that. I don't think he lasted a year in that company after NXT, which is just sad. Cause imagine low-key in fucking WWE. That'd be dope. Especially nowadays, like if they let him do the low-key character, that's money, man. But nope, he's too small. Next, Austin Aries. Big dick behind the scenes, or so I've heard. He was given the Cruiserweight title, but that's the most he accomplished in WWE. I don't think he touched the main roster. He went from NXT, where he didn't really do anything notable in NXT, and then he went to 205 Live, won the Cruiserweight title, and then lost it to Enzo, and kept losing to Enzo, so he quit. Or so I've been told. So that's the rumors. That's what people say. And maybe it's true. I don't fucking know. I'm not him, so I don't know. Thing about fucking Austin Aries, man, he was great in TNA. And, you know, he was champion in TNA, and it was awesome. He was champion right around the same time Daniel Bryan was, or he was, you know, around that same time. Austin Aries is awesome as champ. No problems there. In WWE, I don't know. I couldn't have really seen it in WWE, but in TNA, he was awesome champ. It was great. They should have used him on the main roster. They should have done something with him at least, maybe given him a title shot. I don't know. But he was awesome. He was worth a lot more than they fucking put him in, and making him lose to Enzo and shit. Like, oh my god, poor guy. Nowadays he kind of sucks. I don't really know what he's doing nowadays. He's not in AEW. I think he's in MLW actually, which is like, I like MLW. I watch it every now and again. It's got some promising upstarts in there, but like, I don't know, man. That's pretty bottom tier for Austin Aries. The guy who was like running TNA not long ago. Like, come on, man. I guess it would have been like fucking probably 5 or more years ago at this point, but oh well. He could still be doing great shit. Not that TNA is really a good alternative. He could be in like AEW doing something, but no, he's not. He's just kind of doing his own thing. Whatever. Is what it is. I don't really like him nowadays. Next, Luke Harper. Now, this is the only guy on this list who is still signed, but he's in the kind of contract where they're more or less just keeping him until it expires, because that's what WWE seems to do nowadays. He asked for his release, and they didn't grant it immediately. I think he has like 6 months left on his contract, so once that's up, he'll probably be AEW bound. But until then, he's still employed, but we'll never see him on WWE TV again, more than likely. Why is he on this list? He was never given the proper shine. Like, you watch his indie stuff, and he was pretty good. Like, he's a big fella, too. Like, they could have done something with him. I personally think when they did Orton versus Wyatt at WrestleMania 33, I was there for that. Luke Harper should have been in it, and I think he should have won, because that would have been awesome. The way they were building the Orton-Harper-Wyatt feud was really good, but it was good in the sense, like, it was a good 3-way build, and they pretty much just said, Harper, you can go fuck yourself. It's going to be Orton and Wyatt at Mania, which that sucked, and I was not a big fan of that. I personally enjoyed that match at Mania, although a lot of people didn't, because that was the one where they had like the projector with all the bugs and shit in the ring. Like, that was alright. I didn't mind that. It was Bray Wyatt, man. It is what it is. But I think Luke Harper should have been in that match, and I said at the Royal Rumble, I wanted him to be the champ. Like, I wanted him to win at WrestleMania, because I thought it would just be fucking dope, man. Give him a chance. I think he was fighting AJ Styles in a battle royal, and that was for like number one contendership or some shit. And then they both fell out at the same time. Despite AJ actually hit first, he hit Harper at second, so AJ was technically out. But anyway, I think they restarted the match and AJ won, which is some bullshit. So Harper never even got a title shot. He didn't get anything, and he very well should have. He had the ability. He did fucking that motherfucker does outside dives and shit, and he's like fucking. He's a big tall boy. Like that, he has a lot of agility. His character was fine. He could have easily done better if they gave him the fucking opportunity. Damn shame. Damn shame. R.I.P. Luke Harper. See you in AEW. Number 4 is Ryback. I know a lot of people have their opinions on Ryback, but he was a big dude. He had talent. He had a good character. The fans loved him. I thought he was fucking dope when he came in. Just fucking wrecking people. That's a badass. That's what we want. And then he fought Cena for the WWE title, and he very well should have won that fucking... He should have won that title from Cena. I mean, Cena should have won it back, but, you know, I think Ryback should have beat Cena, went over, and it would have been fucking awesome. I don't know why the fuck they didn't pull the fucking cord on him, or pull the fucking trigger on him. That's the word, I guess. He would have been great WWE champ, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. And then after that, they didn't do anything with him. Before that, they didn't really do anything with him. Oh, actually, after that, they gave him the U.S. title, which he lost to Kalisto. So that made him look really good. I think that was actually his last match, too. So, congrats, WWE. Number 3, John Morrison. That man should have been in the fucking main event. When Miz was WWE champ, I think they would have had a perfect opportunity to bring Morrison into the main event, because Miz and Morrison had a tag team in the late 2000s, and Miz turned on Jomo, and I don't think Jomo ever really got any sort of comeuppance for that, which sucks, because they were a great team, and then Miz turned, and then that was just kind of it. It just kind of fizzled out, which sucked. I think it would have been awesome if they revived that and did a feud with them, and maybe did a World WWE title feud when Miz was champ. I think they easily could have done it, and it would have made a lot of sense. And Jomo could have easily been a main event heel. Right around the time he left, like, I thought he was the shit. Because he was. His ability was awesome. I think he actually had a title match with Miz. It was the first match of Raw in 2011. I don't know why I remember that, but I watched that episode. It was a Falls Count Anywhere. It was Miz with Alex Riley versus Jomo. And Jomo did like a jump off the big W they had on the stage. That was dope, man. I think I wanted Jomo to win that match, but he didn't. And, you know, he easily could have. Jomo would have been fucking awesome WWE champ, because that man is fucking crazy. And now he's in TNA, and he's like their only guy. It's like him, Brian Cage, and Rhino with an eye. And then Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan. That's about it. That's all I know from TNA right now. Or Impact, whatever. They've been switching back and forth for years. I don't really give a flying fuck about that company. Number 2, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose wasn't really misused by the company for the most part. He came with the Shield. He was given the title. He was given the U.S. title. He was given the World title, or the WWE title. And then he blew it because he fucking sucked as champion. His interview on the Stone Cold podcast was the epitome of that. Sure, he was misused doing the whole Bane Ambrose shit with Seth Rollins. And yes, when his run was winding down, he was misused awfully. It was pretty fucking bad. But for the most part, he was given good opportunities. He just blew them because he just couldn't do it. Nowadays, he's doing good for himself in AEW and New Japan, but in the WWE, I don't know if I can really blame it on the company 100%. I kind of got to give him some of the blame too. Yes, he was awesome, but, you know, he kind of blew it sometimes. And it is what it is, man. Some guys just can't do it, and I don't think he could have done it. Number 1, Cody Rhodes. Obviously, Cody Rhodes is underutilized in WWE, as we're seeing nowadays with him being like the big shit on the indies. You know, it's he pretty much fucking runs AEW. Like, you know, they didn't do anything with him in WWE. He won the Intercontinental title. He won the Tag Team title. I think that's it. Like, that's the most he did. Sure, his Intercontinental title run was great. Like, his feud with Rey Mysterio was fucking awesome. His tag team run was awesome when he was with fucking Ted DiBiase and Legacy. Like, that was dope. But, like, other than that, didn't really do a whole lot. Then, of course, he was Stardust and we all know how that went. Stardust was great for like, a little bit, but then it went on for like 2 years, and it was like, that's kind of boring. Clearly he's doing better now. He's making a fucking name for himself in the indies, and that's, he's showing that WWE that he really is he's that good, but they just underutilize the shit out of him. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top 10 people that WWE misused, and that was also the death of finishers earlier. And that was the debut episode of the Wrestlecast. This was the pilot. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe more. Click the bell icon for the love of God so every time I post. There will be another episode of Wrestlecast coming soon, probably within a week's time. So stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've been your host, Dylan Melanson, signing out.